What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with yet one more video. Guys, listen, you guys see the title of the video. This one just came across my timeline, so I thought that I would react to it. Chloe, why men only respect what they pay for. I reacted to a Chloe video in the past. Didn't agree with her for the last video that I reacted to. But the thing is, I've watched a couple other her videos, and there is some things that she does say that I think has some truths to it. A sprinkle of some things that do not. I have not seen this video yet, so I wanted to give you guys my honest, off-the-cuff reaction to the things that she's saying, because I do have my own ideas of what men should be paying for and in regards to respect. So without further ado, let's get right in it.
Hey everyone, and hello YouTube, Chloe here, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, welcome. So today's video is about men and why they spend and what motivates men to spend. And today's video is also about the only language of love that men fully understand and comprehend in relationships. And that language of love is called respect. And when it comes to men, the amount of romantic respect that a man will show you or display to you truly depends upon the entire package of how a woman presents herself, and more importantly, the level of respect that a woman has for her own femininity. A lot of women lack feminine self-awareness and feminine self-respect, and many women are unaware of how unfeminine they are. A lot of
Yo, that's complete facts. I cannot disagree with this so far at this point. I think respect is a huge factor into the ones that I take seriously versus the one that I don't. The thing is that irrespective of how they value their femininity or how far along that they think that they're getting off along in a situation with me, if I recognize that they don't have those traits but they're still a baddie, I will still go and pursue that forward. So that's facts. I can understand how she's articulating that in a way to try to push women to be much more in their feminine nature. So I would say so far that's true, but let's keep going.
Of women don't understand the value of their own femininity when engaging with men. And many women, when they do engage with men, are often leading with thirst and desperation and a lack of feminine education. And because of this, a lot of women allow men to run circles of devaluation and disrespect around them. But when a man is interacting with you, ladies, and when a man is deciding his approach to you, or when a man is deciding how to respond to you and or how to engage with you, how he ultimately decides to step to you and engage with you and court you and date you is completely dependent upon a woman's level of femininity, her feminine charm, her standards, her values, her appearance, and the threshold of her boundaries, and ultimately what she will or won't tolerate.
Yeah, I agree with her again. I think that there's some people that think that because you're highly feminine, that you're just at the beck and will of a man, right? Like a masculine dude. And I don't think that that's true. I think you can have a high degree of femininity, but also set boundaries, thus commanding respect. I've encountered highly feminine women that, you know, are not just willing to just bend to everything that I do and or say. And there is some dudes out there that want a feminine woman that will just be commanded. But I have seen highly feminine women that can still command respect within their own femininity. But I do also agree that there's other things within that a dude has to look at and value. Like, you know, she said it, the looks, being attracted to that woman, for sure, that has a lot to do with it. Also, two, the way that she conceptualizes her values. But also, three, it's, you know, what are the things that she can do to show that she's a cut above the rest, right? So like if you take like the example of, you know, a dude who is unable to, out of the blue, provide, right? Through losing his job and, you know, layoffs or what have you. If her values say that she'll stay with you throughout that process and will uplift you, and then she's proving that with her actions and just not with her words, right? You have to be able to see their actions, because the words don't make sense. Anybody can have a good mouthpiece game, But if she has those values that help her persist through that and uplifting you, you take action and know that that's a key component of her values that lead me to believe that she's highly feminine and down to ride for you, and that you should respect her because of that.
Because women have way more power than they think when it comes to the type of men that they allow in their lives. So, when it comes to money and courting and spending and dating and investing, which are a huge part of a feminine and a hypergamous lifestyle, which is why you need to subscribe to my channel, the amount of respect that a man has for you truly depends upon whether or not he is spending on you. And the more feminine you are, the more a man is inclined to spend and invest, because masculine men and high value men value femininity and feminine women more than they value desperate women and masculine women. And I've said this before on my channel, but men respect what they pay for and what they invest in. And the reason why men respect what they pay for is because men connect spending to value. So if they aren't spending on you, ladies, and investing in you, they don't fully respect or value you. Or they could just be dusty and broke, in which case neither one are a good look for dating or marriage.
Yeah, but let's pause right here. I understand what Chloe is saying. So first, she's starting off. She's saying that men place a high degree of value on money, and if he is not spending money on you, then he does not respect and or value you. There's a degree of that is true, but then she is saying that if he's not, then he's a dusty, right? That's my problem with a component of this argument is really who should the blame be placed on? Who should really be accountable within that? And it's not that he's not spending on you, therefore he is a dusty. That is a highly illogical statement. There's a trend that I see on the internet where creators are not putting a component of the accountability on the audience that is watching their channel. So I think there's a degree here where she is saying, yes, you have to be highly feminine to be respected. And if you do that well, then he can then increase the amount of respect and or value that he contributes to you, which makes sense in essence, which is why I tell you guys always, first dates, coffee, because it's an interview. There is no respect at that point. There's just phone conversations. There's just mouthpiece. There's not actions. So you want to do it with the lowest value possible. But then you get some women that are like, well, if he's not doing XYZ on the first date or the second date and four-star, 5-star restaurant, and I ain't gonna mess with that. And that's just not realistic. I mean, you have to be able to prove it with your actions that you are worthy. You have to be able to prove it with your actions that you're worthy, right? So again, going back into the accountability, just because he's not doing those things, therefore does not mean he is broke or dusty. It could mean that you have not done enough to prove that you are worth it. Facts. Now, I think it's key to mention here as well is that different dudes have different willingness to pay, irrespective of the amount of money that he's bringing in. I think there's some dudes that lead with their wallets and their pockets first, and I'd argue that these are dudes that also do not view themselves as a prize. Right, so they feel as though they have to buy attention. Now, dudes who are dudes of men of substance and men of value don't have to lead with their wallets. They don't have to lead with their pockets. They bring other things to the table in order to entrap a woman's mind and gain respect for them as well. And I see this going off on the internet time in and time again. I think, and oftentimes the women that focus in on the money, the wallet aspect are often the most brokest ones. And they're the ones that usually are trying to have the largest come up in society. And I'm telling you right now, dudes with money, net worth, positive net worth, and wealth in their bank account and of high value can sniff it out from a mile away. And if we ever have an inkling of asking for money, which I think is not feminine at all, to be asking or vying for money. It's not a feminine trait at all. We sniff it out and we lose respect for it. But again, I think it's key to understand that there's just different dudes that have different amounts of willingness to pay. Not every millionaire is going to want to pay for a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. They're happy with paying for a Lexus for a car, for instance. So just because someone is not spending top dollar in order to keep you around or what that value is for that doesn't mean that they are not respecting you as well. And I think that that's key to keep in mind.
But in a man's mind, and I want you to hear this, ladies, respect is not a given. A man might say he respects you to disarm you and to flatter you and to tell you the music to your ears that you want to hear or to lower your defenses so that he can have access to whatever it is that he truly wants, which is usually what is between your legs. But the truth of a man, ladies, is in his actions, and a man's actions are a better indicator of the truth of who he is and his motivations. His actions will always be more important than his words or word salad or whatever spirit of confusion tactics that men are inclined to use to con you out of your value. And for the most part, it is human nature to respect and value the things that we work hard for and the things that we pay for. When things are free, ladies.
Just real quick, I was touching on this earlier. Yeah, actions, but that goes on both sides of the coin. That's not just specific to men and their actions. It's also specific to women and their actions as well. I think Chloe made a good point, but I bring it up a level and say it's on both sides. It's both parties. And I don't think that she would argue that either. It's just the audience that she's speaking to. Actions speak way more louder than words. It's the old adage. And it really is true at a fundamental level.
We are inclined to devalue them, we are inclined to dismiss them, and we are inclined to put them in a junk bin or a junk drawer, and we are inclined to treat free things and things that are free very poorly, and men are no different. And we are inclined to abandon free easily, and we are inclined to take free for granted. And when things are free, we are less inclined to have an attachment to them. We are inclined to see free things as easily replaceable. And I know that this may be an ouch for women to hear, but this is how men think when it comes to spending and women. And for those of you who say, well, sex work and stripping isn't free and sex workers aren't respected nor valued, well, that's different. Sex work.
Listen, she looked like she's starting to switch subjects just a little bit right now. So I'll say, in summary, I understand what Chloe is saying. I think a degree of it is true. The more that a man respects you, the more that he's willing to provide for you. I think a component of that is true. In my life, moving up from the coffee dates to doing other things. Now, what I will say is that different dudes have different willingness to pay. They do. Some have much more of an attachment to money, and some do not. But I do agree with the supposition that over time, if a woman shows that she's of high value, she's worthy, she is to be respected, she has boundaries, she has a high degree of femininity, all of these components, the willingness to pay from a dude can significantly increase. What I would say to anybody who watches Chloe's channel, look at yourself in the mirror and understand what are the things that you actually bring to the table. Because if you really take stock of all the things that you bring to the table and you're adding more strife to a man's life than not, you're taking more than giving, you are unable to nurture, you don't have a high degree of femininity, then what real value are you offering besides what's beneath? All right? That has been my review. That has been my reaction. I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Thanks for stopping by. Hit me up at mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. We do live streams on Fridays, sometimes Saturdays. Come by, stop through, get in the chat. Let's have a conversation. Feel free to also link me on the Patreon, patreon.com/MTNR. Building a fantastic family up there. All right, links down in the description. Until next time, YouTube.